Hey there, this is Brandon Christensen, the director and co-writer of Night of the Reaper, and I am joined here for the first time ever with my brother, Ryan Christensen.
Hello, Brandon.
Hi. Yeah, so this is the first time we've ever done this, and I don't even know how many scripts we've written together now, but
A lot.
this was the first one that we ever started together.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I mean, going back, I mean, do you remember how this all started?
You said you wanted a babysitter movie, and this whole sort of revenge tale just sprang into my mind immediately. And this whole opening scene was written in one sit down very quickly and then read to my wife while we were lying in bed, and she loved it, and it freaked her out. Which was awesome, but I wanted to write it with an opening shot similar to what Stranger Things did to set the '80s mood, which was that suburban house at night. I wanted the sprinkler running, but we did this in fall. So, but yeah, no, it all came together so well.
Yeah, I remember, and this was back in 2020, because I remember you sending the cold open when I was filming Superhost. Like I was in the thick of it, and you just sent it over, and this is back before you knew how to write movies. Like you
Yeah,
wrote it in a Word
I did.
document, not formatted at all for
No.
a script.
Yeah, I mean, I formatted it as best I could, looking at sample scripts online. But yeah, I did not had not made the plunge into final draft yet.
Yeah, and so yeah, that was kind of interesting, and I do remember just reading it and being like, "Holy shit!" It was like 10 pages, and not a lot has really changed since then. I mean,
No.
it's been tightened up a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
But in general, it was, pretty much what you wrote in
Hmm.
2020 was just what it was. And then I don't remember how I mean, you and I took that and you started writing further into it.
Yeah.
And I remember you were a big proponent of Sheriff Rod and his story. Like there was a lot
Yeah.
more in the first draft
A ton more, yeah.
than what happened there. Like they were like, the Reaper tapes were being shared at a high school, and this little girl, she was older, or Marina, maybe she was older, or maybe she was just in junior high or something.
I think she was about this age, and she was given one of the tapes, and it sort of haunted her, and her dad finds it, and yeah, I remember those Reapers were shared like a commodity in high
Yeah.
school or whatever, and it was more of a police procedural.
Right.
Where the intention, of course, was to be a babysitter movie, so we
Yeah.
cut back a lot on that. But
Yeah, that was my thing. Was just
yeah.
like this has to be a babysitter
Yeah.
movie first. Like that was the genesis of it, was to start with a babysitter. And I think you were like very much on the
Detective
detective
side, yeah.
and I was more into no, we just got to get a girl in a house
Yeah.
alone and just work our way to the twist. So I think that was that was probably the biggest sticking point in the earlier drafts of the film, was just trying to get that figured out, like how
Yeah.
much do we show, and it was it was evolved all the way until we shot, because I remember even Rod going to Willis's apartment, like
Yeah.
that we wrote that while we were in prep on
That's
the film.
right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, like before he picked her up outside of Hattie's house, like he had just delivered Max, and it
Yeah.
was very simple. And I think it was Seeger that gave us the note, the one of the co-producers. He basically just said, we need like a final boss type of thing for the end of his detective story, and he was totally right.
Right.
And I think if we had time and money, we could have pushed it even further and made it really big. But
Yeah.
it's nice to go into Willis's apartment
Yeah.
and see his sort of love for movies and horror films and stuff. It's definitely a nice red herring.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it was an interesting red herring. Throwing the dog leash in there is, that was the ultimate red herring, because I mean, he obviously wasn't guilty of anything except for helping Dina in her journey for revenge. But yeah, it was fun.
it was funny too, because I don't even think I like there's when and this is way later in the film, but when they go to Willis's apartment, when Rod goes and he's waiting, the girl with the dog that walks him out, that he goes into the door. Like I just thought it was like, oh, girl taking a guy on, a dog on a walk, but it has more to that. Like it just is a constant reminder of the dogs, and so is the dog collar, and there were certain things that you had put into the script that I didn't realize until I was pretty deep in post, which is pretty
Yeah.
funny.
Well, I mean, originally in some of the earlier drafts, the bad guy in the movie, the one that ultimately is guilty of all these murders, she's the one sort of hitting these dogs with her truck, and she had a pail full of their collars. Like, they weren't just strays.
Right.
She was just, it was just another level of her psychosis. And
Well, it was a guy too.
it was a guy in the first draft. Yeah. But I think it evolved, especially when we wanted Keegan involved. We wanted to, we thought she would really hit it out of the park, and she did.
Yeah, because I'd worked with her on Z a couple years before we started working on this, and it was one of those things like, no, it'd be cool to have a female versus female at the end and set up this thing, and having worked with Keegan on Z at the time, and her, that final week when we shot her and she was like fully crazy, I was just like, okay, no, she can do these very deep genre things, and so. We didn't even really give her a choice. I just said, "Hey, you're doing this thing," and then it happened when it did. I mean, it took years to get from 2020 to when we shot in 2024.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. So we have like this Word document that has, this really really rough version of the film, and then, I guess because I was in post on Superhost, and that's when we switched over to Puppet Man.
Mm-hmm.
And when Matt Mandrides reached out and he had these ideas, and you and I sort of built on that, and that was the first time we really wrote together.
Yeah, that was when we broke down the entire story via like a visual Bible.
Yeah, we didn't do that for this.
No, but yeah, that really helped to inform the script writing for sure.
Yeah, no, that was great. But yeah, we went from there, and then we've written a bunch of stuff, and like then Reaper was just kind of always nipping at us as a thing that we wanted to do. I mean, even in the Puppet Man, there's a little Easter egg on Charlie's computer that says Night of the Reaper.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of trying to manifest the film into being made.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually it did, which is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this cold open, I'm trying to think of what would have changed in it, because it's not much.
No, the biggest change is, just right as we're at the spot, is the name change to Chad, which sort of intimates that maybe she and Chad Bolton were tied together at some point, who is now with Liz and has a fun little moment near the end of the movie.
Yeah, because scripted, it was someone else. It was
just some random no-name.
Yeah, and I remember, because we filmed that too, but I was just like, no, it's got to be Chad, just to tie it in more, to give him some reason. They broke up, maybe it was messy, and so he is getting his revenge.
Yeah, and I think it is. I think thinking about it now and how this story could evolve into the future, it would be Chad.
Yeah.
I think it makes the most sense.
Yeah, I think once there's a personal connection to it, even if it's pretty subtle like that, it's such a throwaway line at the beginning, but it does inform the audience once they've kind of reached the end.
Yeah.
I remember just the script, like, it was a walk-in closet, and I was so hung up on that when we were trying to find this house, and so I was just like, shit, we're going to lose this whole gag. Like, I wanted to put the camera deep in the closet and have her silhouette kind of looking in.
Right.
And, you can really ramp up the fear. And ultimately, it doesn't really matter. But it's like one of those detail things that you get hung up on.
It's definitely easier to write this stuff because you don't, have location in mind, nor do you have budget restrictions. So
right.
The original script was probably a far...
Yeah, it was huge.
Bigger production than what it turned out to be. But
I think that's what always happens.
Yeah.
And that's where because I've done, so many of these tiny ass ones where I know what I can get away with and what I can't. So it's like, okay, you kind of go in and do the bigger version of it. And I'm like, okay, we can't afford most of this stuff. So I need to pare it back and keep the spirit of it, but not change it. And do you remember when the 80s thing was that from the beginning? Like, was that part of the initial conversation? Because I remember when we were talking about this, and this was, again, we'd never written together, but you've been writing for forever, just like books and stuff. But I like, was that part of that initial conversation? Because I just remember we were like, one of the first ideas was a babysitter that there's two guys that were going to film and make a babysitter movie and haunt her and like do all that stuff, and it would be kind of a dual perspective.
Yeah.
But I just don't remember if the 80s was part of that or if that came later.
I think it was always part of it, just from the technology angle. I wanted to be pre-social media, and I just didn't want to have the Deus Ex Machina of an iPhone saving the day, because
Yeah, it does change
The 80s is
everything.
pure, a little more innocent, and I love the nostalgia angle.
Yeah.
That was the best part. It's just, and we're showing the 80s as it truly was. The browns and the wood panels
Right.
and it's not the neon informed sort of idealized version in a lot of the shows today. But this is sort of like the grungy true 80s that I remember.
Yeah, it was ugly
Yeah,
and
wood
brown
panels and just
yeah.
just it's yeah.
And so I think like it's just speaking about this cold open that we're just finishing up now, but it's almost like the Hollywood version of a cold open, and it's like very much kind of leaning on the Scream kind of Drew Barrymore intro
Yeah.
and being really big and broad and making the audience think one thing, like, oh, this is going to be like a Scream type movie.
Right. Yeah.
And then the movie's not really that, and
Yeah.
it's kind of setting itself up to repeat that. And we've got this babysitter and this cop, and there's these two storylines going. But the audience, I mean, and this is when I was directing anyways, I was like, okay, well, we just want to lead them to think that what we just watched in the cold open is going to happen again.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of interesting too, just
Yeah.
to sort of see this like very digestible 10-minute intro.
Yeah.
And then you go into something that's a little bit more complex.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
And, I think it works for a lot of people. It doesn't work for everybody. Some
Right.
people want more of that intro.
Yeah.
Which is fair. I mean, you're setting up something and then subverting it completely. But I
Mhm.
think from, a story perspective, this is more interesting where you can kind of take what we're building and flip it on its head. And, I mean, that was always part of the idea from the beginning was
Mhm.
it was a revenge tale.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the scene with her walking here, like just the opening credits. I always viewed this. I mean, it's silly to sort of simplify it, but it's like her storming the beach of Normandy almost. Like she doesn't know if she's going to survive. She has this plan. She's been rooted in this plan for a year or whatever. She, following the villain, learning her patterns and planting the seeds for her ultimate revenge. And
Right.
she doesn't know if she's going to survive this day, and she's okay with that as long as she succeeds. And it feels like one of those soldiers that's getting onto those boats in the opening of Spielberg's movie. She has a purpose, but she doesn't know if she's going to survive to fulfill it.
Yeah, and I mean the script of this was also really interesting, and I think it it does a lot of things that it's hard to do in a movie when you need to keep the audience's attention.
Yeah.
But like her carrying her backpack here, it's very subtle.
Yeah.
But it's being set up for later when she leaves and she doesn't have it. And there's even a shot and a musical cue that's just like, it's like, pay attention, we're filming her back right now. She doesn't have this backpack
Yeah,
anymore. And
right.
at the time, you don't really notice it. But if you rewatch this,
Yeah.
and that's the thing too, is that this thing is built for rewatching. Because when you watch it the first time completely blind, and then what happens later, like every line of dialogue, like this one here is super important. Are we good? He says, and she's like, yeah, we're good. And we as an audience just think, okay, there's some weird tension between them, whatever, nothing really matters. But they're talking about their plan. Like Chad just left. They're looking at him. He's out of earshot, so they're like, okay, we're back into that mode. And so when you watch it the second time, hopefully, you can't expect someone to watch it twice. But if you do, hopefully, you can kind of pick up on a lot of that stuff that's here.
Yeah, totally.
And there's our killer. And I mean, even from the very, very first thing, the killer, even when it was a dude, he was always looking at movies in the pharmacy.
The horror movies.
Yeah, that's funny. And then this, it's like every scene leading up to her babysitting is setting up, and and they've all been cut way down from what they were scripted, just because it's the constant battle of like, are we giving away too much, and is this boring, and
Like
it's tough.
He's saying these were making him nauseous because he was taking them with his coffee, and she leaves with 2 coffees, and probably the ACE inhibitor.
There's the shot of the back with the backpack.
The ACE inhibitor bottle cap has probably been popped. A few of those have ended up in Hattie's coffee.
So then this was changed quite a bit, not like just from scripted, and we even shot it differently. But and this was notes. I think Shudder may have given me the note where it's like, and some other people. I think Martin from Blitz Berlin also gave the same note where it's just there's way too much going on in this kitchen. So originally and this was from the very first draft, was he opens it up and there's a note that says not everything is as it seems,
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
And then
picture of a car crash,
yeah,
which was
picture of
his
a car
wife's
crash.
car, and
Yeah.
and then this would have been his son's introduction scene as
Yeah.
well, where we kind of learn that he's he has a babysitter, a day babysitter, and then Hattie babysits at night, which plants the seeds for why Dina is
And
drugging her.
Yeah, and Miss Dunham was introduced here
And Mrs.
too. Like
Dunham,
Miss
yeah.
Dunham was the day watcher
Yeah,
girl,
exactly.
and then Hattie was the night babysitter. And so her, we shot it, but it just didn't really work, and
Yeah.
it just slowed everything down, and we didn't learn anything new. So
No, yeah.
it was pulled out. But yeah, at the end of that scene, he calls Butch, and we introduce Butch there, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, we found I think I've got the way that the killer got into the Golding house." And then he's about to take a drink of the alcohol, and Max comes in, and they talk about babysitting and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And it was fine. It was Max's first scene with Rod or with Ryan Robbins, and I didn't think Max was dialed in very well yet. So, yeah, just it wasn't as effective as it could have been, so it ended up getting cut. But
Probably works better
yeah.
in the script, or if it was a book or whatever,
Yeah.
it gives you some information. But yeah, visually,
Yeah.
it didn't need to be there when you could do it better elsewhere.
Right, and that's she just made her coffee. It's bitter because she's put drugs in it,
Yeah.
and so she puts sugar in it. And again, like it just seems like just something random happening, but it's not at all. And that kind of continues through every scene. And so that's the hard thing too, is that you're hiding these important things into very kind of day-to-day, not to say boring, but it's just conversation. It doesn't
Yeah.
sound like it's important, but it is.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's funny. That's Mom and Dad's old home videos on the
Yeah.
background.
Yeah, I mean,
There's mine.
home videos were inform so much of the story because you and I are so
Right.
bloody nostalgic to a fault almost.
Yeah, I mean, we grew up with camcorders
Yeah.
around us and making little dumb short films,
Yeah.
and we have a full series of superhero movies that we made in the early '90s, and they're incredible.
Yeah.
But
We have a lawsuit pending with Disney Plus's new Wonder Man because they've
right, they stole our name.
they stole our name.
Yeah, and so that must have been a big part of why the tapes and stuff are in here, and how it
Yeah,
was done.
100%.
I can't even remember. I mean, like, I don't remember what was set up, because there was so much that was set up from that opening, like the garage door,
Yeah.
and all of those things that were in that cold open that ended up informing so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hard to fully remember how that all came together, but there's a little Easter egg of our names that had Mike Casper in them.
Yeah.
Build. But yeah, this all of this, getting to this and letting this be the information, like, oh, he got the garage door remote, and let's see what happens, rather than already telling us ahead of time. And that's why it was a good note to remove all that stuff in the kitchen, because
Yeah.
it's like, we get the information here, so if we already knew that was the way the killer got in, then it's like this
Yeah.
scene's pointless.
Yeah.
So this is nice because it
Yeah.
establishes a lot.
It's quick and it uses Maddie's basically his full audition tape.
Yeah.
We just copy and pasted it here. He was so phenomenal.
Yeah, and he added that crossword
Yeah,
thing at the beginning.
which was
he just,
great,
He
yeah.
just did it in his audition tape, where he just even the same word, it was traps in his
Yeah.
audition. So we just
Yeah.
bolted that at the beginning of the scene. It does do a lot to make him even more unassuming. It just reminds me of like Hot Fuzz, and how you've got Simon Pegg, who
Yeah.
comes from the city, and he's going
Yeah.
to this small town.
The bumpkin.
Yeah, and they don't expect bad things to happen.
Right.
Everything to them is just an accident.
Yeah.
And Simon Pegg is not as I guess naive, and so he they kind of do that. And so here, we don't see what happened here. This was something that, I mean, no, that was always there. I think there was it was slightly different in the script, I think, because it was like there was no photos
Yeah.
in any of the frames.
And I think everything was it was almost like in their grieving process, they had tried to remove anything that would instill any sense of memory, which, and this is my favorite sort of foreshadowing right here, especially with their little hand movement on the tape recorder. But yeah, I think in the original script, like, she even ends up walking by Emily's door and trying to open it, and it's locked, and It's almost like this house is frozen in grief. They're trying to move on and kind of escape the bad things, but they can't. And her dad is just morose and depressed, but
Mom was doing her best to just kind of hold everything together.
Yeah.
And it's funny, there was another scene here too that was pulled after we shot it, but they're washing dishes, and after the phone call that she gets from Hattie, Dina goes in and says, "Hey, I can't hang out tonight. I have to go help Hattie, and she needs me to babysit." And I had a call with this actress here, Susan Serrano, and she was like, if her daughter died from babysitting, there's no way she would let her other daughter go babysit. And so I was just like, holy shit. That was a good note. And so, I mean, the scene didn't end up making it to the film anyway, so it didn't matter.
No, that is a good note.
But I was just like, oh, obviously. And so we changed it at the very last minute to like, she needs help with something. Keep it kind of vague. And then Dottie here was a big change too, because scripted she was like a 60-year-old woman or something that was like the nanny of the house or of the office. And Sophie Kane, she auditioned for Hattie, and she was so good, and she had this gum chewing thing, and I was just like, oh man, it'd be fun to use her, even though I loved Savannah for Hattie. So we rewrote Dottie for this, and then Maddie basically on the day just was like, hey, watch what I'm going to do with her. And he starts flirting with her during the take, and it was such a funny thing that just like informed and added so much characterization to Butch, who's it's just that's what those kind of actors do. Is
he's a little bit of a toady, just kind of following Rod, but that gave him a personality that wasn't totally in the script,
Yeah.
But my favorite Easter egg in all of this is, I mean, it's not, I don't think it's mentioned verbally, just because it was never written, but we named the town they live in Reedy Creek, so their badges say Reedy Creek, and I actually have one of them framed next to my computer so I can kind of look at it whenever I'm writing. But Reedy Creek is basically the name of a town and a novel I wrote, which is funny because it's based also in the 1980s Midwest in a small town that's captured by a surveillance camera operation and a serial killer, so it was cool to sort of combine the two. So that was a fun little Easter egg not many people would ever know, but
it's kind of like creating like a Castle Rock type of situation that Stephen King would do, and just keep repeating and it's just kind of like a nice texture you can put in. But Mike Flanagan did something similar with Midnight Mass. Like it kept showing up, the girl is she writing it or she's reading it in hush, and it's just sort of, he was slowly materializing it just by making it real in his movies, and we're kind of doing that with this because the book was written before Stranger Things, but you were finishing it, I think, as Stranger Things came out.
I mean, I was deep into it, and then I remember watching the first episode of Stranger Things, and I was both just drawn in and angry at the same time, because I was like, oh my god, like 4 boys, like everything about it seemed like it was stolen from the page. Not stolen, but it seemed like it was from the page. It was exactly as I envisioned it, but stories were completely different in the end. But it was just a serendipitous timing in a sense, where that's always what happens. But going to the video here, I mean, that was the biggest thing I wanted to create with the serial killer angle in this movie, when it was more of a police procedural, is all of these cold cases that are kind of sitting in the sheriff's office, whether they're cold cases or just freak accidents, actually had been at the hands of Liz, this murderer who was killing in secret.
Right.
And then she finally, decided to sign her work with the Emily Golding murder, making it more of a I don't know, like a headline, I guess, by contextualizing it around the babysitter angle. So
so if she's kind of working in secret and she's killing people like a camper outside or Rod's wife or something like that. And that's funny because when Keegan was reading it, she was just like, I think Rod and Keegan and Liz had something. Maybe they dated and she's been jealous and that's why she did it. And it's like, that's fine. It doesn't. it doesn't need to be said, but if that informs your performance,
Yeah,
great, and you
yeah.
can do whatever you want. But I think she's probably just living on the outside of town and just sort of picking up dog roadkill. She just doesn't feel like she's anybody important. So being able to kind of end people's lives and watch the reaction of the town as they kind of reel from this thing. At first, it's done in secret, so they're all accidents. But I think she probably got a little bit more brave with Emily.
Yeah.
And filmed it a little bit more closely and made it more of a thing and had Chad help. And
Yeah, just played with her food in a sense, like haunted her.
yeah.
I was trying to explore just how evil oftentimes doesn't have motive,
Right.
which is kind of the biggest nitpick a lot of the time is what was the motive, and that was the underlying thing here. In any small town, you have, I think, The Village, M. Night Shyamalan's movie, did that really well, where they tried to create this ideal community outside of modern sensibilities, and no matter what, evils can infuse itself into into any sort of environment, saying it's more natural than anything. And that was sort of my intention here, is just this small town, this evil being lives on the edge, sort of like a Pennywise creature, but in human form, and acts like a cancer in this town, and just kills secretly until it gets bored of the secret.
Yeah. This is a funny thing that no one would really notice, but the dog changes there from the first two shots. There was like a pool of blood because I did VFX and I forgot to add it to that shot. I just noticed that yesterday when I was recording with Clayton.
Yeah,
And I was like, what? I missed a shot?
that's funny.
It's brutal. I mean, that's the thing that...
No, I would have never noticed. But yeah, I mean, just showing the dog. I think that must be the same dog that ends up at Rod's house there at night. So
Yeah.
my assumption there is it's not a stray. It's something that it is a stray, but it's something she actively hit with her car. Because there was a shot in the one of the first drafts where there's blood and hair on the front of the bumper that she wipes off.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's funny. I was keeping it more innocent, like she was just forced to clean up this thing and its death.
Yeah.
Because, one, we're dealing with dogs, and that's been a thing that's come up a lot in the wake of this movie's release. Is just why the dead dogs? Why the dead dogs? And it's like, well, for one, she's not killing them. There are dogs that were already dead. She's just repurposing their bodies.
It's a calling card.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely underused in the final film, and it's just like one of those things. Like finding dogs that read as real is very hard. Like in the opening, we had this giant thing. It was like a wolf. It was probably like 4 feet long, and it was huge, very high fidelity. But it was you couldn't shoot it with her because it was so big. Like it was she laid down beside it, it would look huge compared to her. So. You have to shoot it that way. And then we had the second one that was like a puppy, and you had to shoot it again in a way to make it feel bigger, so it wasn't, it had more presence on screen. But yeah, this was a fun scene just because it's like, Rod's it's like justification for his kind of assumptions of what might be happening.
Yeah, I mean, the Emily Golding case was grown obsessed over, as we'll later learn. Like. He was in this small town where nothing happened, and Liz kind of worked in secret, so accidents would happen here and there. But now he's realizing some of his assumptions are correct.
Yeah, and this shot here, I think, goes back to what you were saying at the beginning when she's walking with her backpack. Is like she's a kamikaze pilot.
Yeah, totally.
This is more of a on the nose version of that.
Yeah.
But it's just like she's driving out to this thing, and she's upset because she knows. Like, there's a very good chance she doesn't survive this. So she's just trying to, like, muscle up and go do this thing.
There's a great mixture of resolution and madness in that shot.
Yeah. So if you watch it again the second time, that's one that'll really feel different. Because it's like, why is she so upset?
Yeah.
Maybe because her house is so shitty and, like, her parents are not good and her dad's sick. Like, that's what you're meant to believe, but it's really about more than that.
Yeah. No, she's a vicious one, this one, Dina.
Yeah, this is this was just fun. It's fun to just show what we've already seen at a different point of view, and you start filling in the blanks like, oh shit, like this is how they got in, and we're
well, like the cold opening actually has credence now. It's not just this random act that is just disconnected and disjointed from the main narrative. It's the main thrust of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was really important to show.
Yeah.
And it does that well. It brings it back, but only a little tease of it.
Yeah, because I mean, and this is something that's not, when you read the script, you get more of the subtext just because of reading compared to watching. You pick up on certain things because you can kind of say more, and when you film it, it's hard to be so on the nose about certain things. So like, with the dead dogs and stuff, that's very much kind of open for interpretation of how they're getting there. So a lot of people think that they're just killing dogs too.
Yeah.
When they're not, and that's why I have a line near the end where Dina's like, I bet this is how you feel when you're picking up roadkill or whatever, just to kind of draw attention to that's what she's doing. But so right here there was going to be a scene where she goes to the door and knocks, and this old lady, Miss Dunham, who is basically just watching Max, they have a quick conversation. They talk about how far the sheriff lives and stuff, and that's why she's late, and that's just sort of setting up for later. But ultimately, it was stuff that we already got through through the film, and that's the thing with writing too, is like performances will inform so much story that you think you need on the page, but you don't.
Yeah, that's something I'm learning more and more about. That I have to trust the process, trust the actors. Yeah. But having Max's introduction here is far more poignant, I think.
For sure. And it's just such an iconic image of him on his knees, because that's, when I think of the 80s, that's me sitting on the floor playing, the Nintendo or something like that. I mean, we have pictures of us playing like Zelda and things like that.
On a very similar TV. It was an old box console TV that weighed about as much as an RV.
Yeah. This was fun too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool to have like an interrogation, and even when we shot it, like we did different versions of Chad and just like how he's reacting to it, and we kind of shot it with him like knowing that he was the killer and like leading them on even more, and then we did more of an innocent pass, and we went with that for the edit just because we kind of go in between it because he's got this cockiness until all of a sudden it's like snuff tapes and all that stuff. He's he knows that everything has happened that night, or that they've been recording these deaths and stuff like that. He's probably seen it, but he's not aware that they're out.
Yeah.
So
because this is Dina stole these tapes, so it's not something where like in the original script, Dina had stolen these tapes far earlier and actually released them. It was a part of her plan to kind of publicize what this murderer was doing, just to make her act seem more heroic. But this is a more personalized version now, where it's just for her, and we learn as well for Rod as well.
Yeah. Which is important for the ending.
Yeah.
What the hell are you talking about?
But yeah, that camcorder it's like the little brother version of the Back to the Future one. And I found it on Facebook Marketplace, and I was like, I need this for the movie.
Yeah, we never had a cool camcorder that taped right onto VHS. That would have been sweet.
Yeah. Well, this one goes to VHS-C. It's like smaller tapes.
I see.
I think Grandpa's camera shot directly to VHS. That one he had in like 85.
Really?
Yeah, it must have been, because I don't think the Video 8 was a thing until later in the 80s.
Okay.
But maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
I guess we have all those tapes from like the actual Video 8, so it must be. It must be that.
Yeah, we never had anything like that, which would have been cool, but.
You're an accessory. An accessory? An accessory to the murder of Emily Golding.
Chad is like a carbon copy of Billy. Is that like he just looks like Billy from Stranger Things? Like just the hair. It was great.
Yeah, he grew the mustache for the audition he did, and that was a big reason of why I liked him so much, because he was such a scuzzy looking guy.
Yeah, he put everything into this role. He was actually on the registered sex offender list as a result of that mustache.
Is that true?
No. It should be, though.
There is a big hint right there, is that Dina says, when I was a kid, my sister and I used to play real estate agents. And in the opening, Summer, or Emily, also says, my big sister would be my lightsaber kind of thing. And it's very blink and you miss it, but if you watch it again, you go, oh, wow, they talked about each other.
Yeah. No, that was the goal in writing, was to plant enough seeds where it's obvious. And, that was a part of the fear. Like, oh my gosh, like, why are we showing this girl? Why is she walking and morose? Her family's obviously depressed and there's something missing in that household, are people just going to guess immediately that she is Emily's older sister? Like that's always the fear. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if a lot of people did or not.
I don't think so. I mean, when I was editing it, I was terrified of that too. Like
Yeah.
in Savannah or in Hattie's first scene, she said more at the end. Like she's like, I understand why you had to leave,
Yeah.
but I'm so glad you're back. And I was just like, man, we've got a good exit with her saying, I'm so glad you're back. Like we don't need that as well. And so, you're just kind of peeling back as much as you can. And this is a small budget indie. You don't have test screenings or things like
Yeah.
that to go to an audience and be like, did you know that they were sisters prior to the reveal? But when we did Popcorn Frights for the world premiere, I was sitting there and I was just dying the entire time. I'd never watched it with an audience. That was the first time. And I was, I was like hiding in my chair and I was so nervous and I'm just sitting there and I'm talking to my wife and I'm like, oh my God, everybody already knows every time there's like a clue.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards I asked the audience, I was like, okay, did anybody pick up that she was her sister? And nobody put up their hand. So
That's good. I asked the same thing during a screening at my company. I worked for a home builder and they did a screening of it as well, and that was a question I asked a lot of people after, and nobody knew.
And I think part of it is just like when you're watching just normal scenes like these, you don't expect to have to pay attention.
Yeah.
You're able to just sort of like casually watch, and not every line matters. And I mean, when I watch other people's stuff, like when I'm watching my stuff, every line, every blink, everything matters. But when I watch somebody else's stuff, I'm just like, you're
Yeah.
just there for the ride. You don't overthink everything.
Yeah.
So, it's like, how do we make sure that the audience is doing the same thing? And I think they just do in general.
Right.
So it's just like a matter of how, controlling that as much as you can and just hoping for the best.
Yeah.
But you have to stay true to the script, and so you're it's like a delicate balance.
Yeah, like this house tour was always tough. Like I originally wrote it as a bungalow, but
Right.
finding this house was awesome, just because visually, texturally, it's so
Yeah, it's
just
a
so
movie
great.
house.
It's a movie house, yeah.
Yeah, if we didn't have this house, the movie would be like 40% worse.
Yeah, this made just texturally it made the film work for sure.
That picture of Abby was an edit of a picture of our mom. And there's another one that's like a full-on picture of her that I just replaced the face on. My friend did that one, but it's just funny because my mom has these weird photos or paintings. I don't even know what they are. They're like pretty photos from the early 80s or something like that, and they're pretty hysterical to look at now, but they are totally dead on for the period.
They
So
were
we
from the
copied
old
it.
boudoir photos, I think.
I hope not. And this is funny because it kind of gives you an idea of what year it is, and that's the thing too. This movie doesn't take place in a specific year.
Yeah,
Because
I know it's like the RoboCop poster that comes up later
Yeah.
is a VHS release of an '87 movie. Max is playing the Atari. It's sort of like the Goldberg style monolithic '80s. Like it
Sometime in the 80s.
It happens all at once, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's just too, especially with our budget. Like we can't do the Stranger
It's
Things
tough,
thing
yeah.
where we just dial it into
Right.
1983 because you're dealing with Facebook Marketplace for 90% of your
No,
props. So it's
for sure.
like, you can't you beggars can't be choosers.
Right.
So you just take what you can. I mean, I'm sure. So to me, it feels like it's a late 80s thing. It's like 87, 88 maybe.
Yeah, it was written mid '80s, especially with the George Brett reference. I
Yeah.
mean, we're assuming Midwest town. I mean, Kansas City's going to be a baseball team. A lot of these people would follow. So 1980 was his 390 batting average season. So I figured that was. But again, that doesn't matter. It's
You keep it vague as by
Yeah.
point being like, a couple years ago or something like that. Nothing. The only time there's ever a year on screen, and this was just something I really did fast, was on the back, the license plate on Chad's van. It says Sawyer County 85, and Sawyer's my son, and the 85 is the year I was born. So I just put that in, but it doesn't mean anything.
No.
Like it could be the expiration or it just whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's the '80s. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I think this whole walkie-talkie scene was this was a fairly late ad too, because
Yeah.
again, it was going back to the procedural battle
Yeah.
and stuff. Like the procedural was taking up so much of the
Yeah,
movie.
it
It was
was.
like 75-25.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is what sells the movie ideas.
Yeah.
The girl in a house watching a kid, and that inherent fear that you get of just protection. And that was what I was trying to kind of lean into. So I was just like, we need to see more of the babysitting and not just put him to bed. And so I think this came up at that point.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, let's create a cool horror beat with them playing hide and seek.
Yeah.
And, hide and seek's been used a million times in horror films, and it's been iterated on in movies like The Conjuring. But this is with the walkie and the visuals outside and stuff like that, it does sort of have its own identity.
Mm-hmm.
I like that window kind of makes her look like the Reaper there with the point
Yeah.
at the top.
Oh yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is just like a happy accident.
Yeah.
Or we built that door to be exactly that because we were that smart.
Yeah, that's when I'd probably call the cops right about
Yeah.
there.
And that's funny too, is that, like, I'll read reviews and people are like, why is she not calling the cops? And it's like, well, it explains that.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the
Yeah.
whole point. Like, the movie would fail if it wasn't about revenge. If it was just a simple redux
Right.
of the cold open, then 100% that complaint is valid. But
Yeah.
she expects the Reaper to be. She expects a presence.
Yeah.
She wants it there. She's drawing it in. That's
She's
her
seen
whole
the
trap.
diary. She
Yeah.
knows this night is going to be the night that they
Exactly.
attack.
Yeah.
So, and that's one interesting thing is, like, does she know that Chad is also with her?
Yeah, I think she suspects maybe,
For sure.
but I don't know for sure. Like, I would assume a part of it is trying to get Chad taken in by the police to hold him in custody while all this goes down, so she can focus her energy on Liz. But another part's like, I think she does know Chad because this is again about her sister, and if we've added the layer with Chad's name in the cold open, then this is, there's a past relationship here. She's seeking vengeance upon. So yeah, I would say she does, at least in this iteration. I don't think in earlier scripts she did, but I think now it makes
because
sense.
we added the line when we first meet Willis and Chad, and he's like,
Yeah.
relax, she's too young for you or
Yeah.
something, because they're aware that Chad has a relationship
Exactly,
with her.
yeah. So yeah, how deep that relationship goes, I don't think I really expounded upon too much, but I think it makes sense based on her trap at the end that she would know.
Yeah,
She just didn't
definitely-
expect him to show up the way he did.
Right, like she has the walkie rigged.
Yeah.
She has different things ready to go.
Yeah.
In the event, things go sideways. So she
Yeah.
thought of a lot of things, but the timing of, Butch being very kind of like, we gotta let him go. Like, she probably maybe thought that he would be held longer. and
Yeah,
allow
that,
all
or
this
I
to
mean,
happen.
it's just visually or verbally said that there's a tail on him, essentially a cop monitoring him that we learn later Chad actually kills, he slits his throat.
Right.
So maybe Dina didn't really expect that he would be that animalistic, that vicious. She thought maybe it was just Liz doing all of this, and he was the cameraman essentially.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, there's some layers there that hell I'm still thinking about.
Yeah. No, it's funny. It's just like, you've got it on the page, but there's
Mm-hmm.
always things that you can ask and, kind of prod at things that, I mean, one thing people are like, how are all the doors opening? I mean, I like to think that it doesn't start opening until Keegan or Elizabeth is inside the house.
Yeah.
Like we've seen her outside the house.
Yeah.
Nothing has happened inside
No.
yet.
Yeah.
And it only happens when she goes out to see the dog,
Right.
again, using the dog as bait.
Yeah.
And then everything after that, we just assume that she's inside.
Yeah.
Is she able to move around the house that sneakily? I don't know. Maybe. That's what we're saying.
Yeah. If
But-
you don't expect it, then yes. I mean, if you know there's someone in the house, then
Right.
it's a little different. And Dina does know,
Yeah,
but
she
she's just
knows.
reacting as
Right.
if she doesn't. But I think if you don't know and your gut's saying there can't be someone in here, just to keep the rational side of you, appeased.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, you just have to suspend your disbelief. I mean, we're just trying to make it. We're
Right.
trying to make it like a haunting almost.
Yeah.
That yeah.
Yeah, and there's people, I've heard some people be like, I thought it was supernatural because of the cold open, and they're talking about the skin eater and all these other things that are kind of red herrings. And it's like there's the shot there's like two things that are kind of hard to explain, but they are at the same time, at least in my opinion. There's when she sees the bear on the bed and she's leaning in to grab it, and then the clothes move.
Yeah.
In the script, I don't think, as it is now, when she turns her head to look, the clothes aren't moving anymore.
Yeah.
But scripted, they were, and she went to the big walk-in closet, and she looks in, and she doesn't see anything.
Yeah.
But I changed it very near locking the edit because I think it was Terry Ben who did some of the score. He's like, I think it'd be better if when she looked, it wasn't moving, and she just felt like it was.
Yeah.
And the clothes moving in her periphery are like the way that we show how she's feeling without seeing it. But then it repeats itself when she goes and the lightning strike happens, and in her periphery, she thinks that someone's standing there watching her.
Yeah.
And then when she turns and looks, she just realizes it's a mirror. But for that one moment in that flash, I filmed her so it looks like she's looking, and it's it's kind of a cheat. But the idea wasn't to make us think that that's what she saw. It's just that's what she felt that she saw. And so when Keegan at the end of the movie is like, that she's got Dina tied up, and she's like that, that feeling that someone's watching you and all this stuff. She's kind of articulating the feeling I'm trying to do at the beginning of the film. And it works for some, doesn't work for others. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, trying to trick people into a supernatural angle I thought that was fun, even with the skin eater story. Like that was right from the first draft. Yeah. Like, I mean, that was just a simple little boyhood fear of a monster he made up. And the inclination there was just to say maybe it wasn't a monster, and maybe that's what this movie's about. Like the skin eater.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it ultimately isn't. But it's a fun
scooper.
little yeah.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, before I think Rod goes out as he does and stuff like that, but he's just like driving around the town, and then he luckily saw Willis walking away from Hattie's house to his car, and he gets arrested there, and he gets brought in. And I talked about this a minute at the beginning, but we created this whole extra beat of him seeing the Reaper on the lawn, and giving him the idea, like, I'm gonna go to Willis, and he goes to the apartment and everything, but and then it turns into like him breaking in, and
which I think it works.
He's got loose morals here.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he's a renegade cop right now. Willis has always intended to give Rod the tape that he's supposed to, just not in the way it happens. He doesn't expect to find Rod in his house, but
like Rod is so good that he's ahead of them now.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't have all the information yet, but he is on the right path.
Yeah.
And so I imagine Willis was going to drop off Max, as he does at Hattie's, and then he was going to go home, as he does, grab that tape and deliver it probably to the station or something.
In a box, the same way kind of the other tapes were done, just to keep that pattern of recognition.
Was in the very first draft, because like the Abby reveal was always there. What was there? I can't remember. Was there a different way that they got that final tape? Like, did they find it somewhere else?
Oh Lord!
I mean,
it was always Willis.
Yeah.
I don't.
Because earlier drafts, like very first, we saw them like in the forest, and they were like digging, and they were like, there was a lot more at the beginning of the movie to intimate that there was more going on. Yeah. It was just too much. Like,
well, her whole day before going to babysit was essentially just planning all that. Like, she was digging the hole where she was going to bury Liz's body. These were all just visually shown. Like, we weren't told what she was doing. Yeah. Going to Hattie's house, that's where she borrows the mannequin from her for school. Exactly. I remember that. So we had all of these little beats where they would later be used.
Yeah. And my big thing was just like, it needs to feel more like nothing is happening.
Yeah.
Because if the moment that you start saying that something's happening, then people start questioning everything, and I didn't want that.
I think I was just being a little cutesy. I think even Hattie had a bunch of Reapers on her front yard, like as Halloween decorations, and I think Dina had
stolen one,
absconded with a few of them.
Right.
I had a feeling she would probably drive around the city and steal
Yeah.
a bunch of them.
I think
'cause
she still
she ends up having quite a few in the final act here, but
Yeah.
and I don't think she would have purchased them.
Yeah, so here, this is when Keegan or Elizabeth is in the house
Yeah,
now. Like
she gets
that's
in here.
we just say maybe that was wind just throwing
Yeah.
the screen door, but you know she's inside the house
Yeah.
and like looks like a Reaper there. But yeah, and this was something that Jess just did. It wasn't written when she turns here and she smiles, and it's
Yeah.
almost like, you know, all right, game on.
Yeah.
Or it's also just like a breath of relief.
Yeah.
Like okay,
Yeah, I think it
nothing
works
there.
both ways.
Yeah.
But I think this is, yeah, 100%. You nailed it. It's just basically like, okay, now it's starting.
Yeah.
Now I gotta be on my A game here
Yeah.
because
She's got to be the actor now.
yeah, shit can go down quick.
Yeah. And I remember when I was in post, the scene where she's on the walkie-talkie looking outside, I was like, should I add a camera light, you know, like a red light on the silhouette just to draw more attention to it, like, you know, to show that she's filming? Because
Yeah.
that's one thing I think that I failed at in executing the script is the amount of filming going on. Like, later in the film when, you know, they're in the kitchen before the head pop, Dina says, you know, I followed you, you know, I saw you at my sister's funeral, and scripted, and as we shot it, it cuts to the funeral, and you see Elizabeth filming.
Yeah.
And I got a note like very near the end from Shudder being like, you know, that shot doesn't look very good. We should get, you know, you can get rid of it. And I didn't think about it, but what that did was it, for some people anyways, they were like, well, why would someone being at a funeral matter?
Yeah.
And it was because she was being filmed, and
Yeah.
that's what made her track it. And it's like it works in if you don't think about it too much. But yeah, I mean, in hindsight, I wish I kept it just to make it more of
Right.
like, okay, well, why the hell is someone filming us? And
Yeah.
you know, it got removed. But like that was removed. A couple of the textural things that were in the script and worked well there kind of came out in editing. Like, you know, she's drinking here. And at the beginning in the kitchen, Rod's drinking before
Yeah.
the shift because he's just an alcoholic. And
Yeah.
that's you know, you can see it on his desk and stuff like that later in the film, but we never see him drinking. And I also think that that's probably a mistake, especially leading up to him, you know, in the finale. You know, after all the stuff with the bomb happens, you can see a flask on his desk, and and I have him drinking it, but I never used it, and I kind of wish I did because that's more like irresponsibility for him. And he's like, you know, if he's killing someone in cold blood and he's drunk, or he's
Yeah.
at least, you know, got alcohol in him, that's going to make the lie even more important.
Right. Right.
And so I kind of removed that, and I kind of wish I didn't.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, yeah, I mean, when you're truncating the story a bit, elements have to go
Yeah.
in favor of others, and I mean, it wasn't
It's
him
not-
being a drunk wasn't a huge
Yeah.
thing. I think it was just a coping mechanism
For
on
sure.
his part. Like his town is in shambles still. Like
Yeah.
he's the one who found Emily's body after the call was made, and it was probably very brutal. First time he's ever had to see something like that. I'm assuming maybe Rod might be a Vietnam vet. Who knows what his past is? So that could have triggered some PTSD in that sense. But
I think it certainly does with his wife's tape.
that
He watches
too.
that,
Oh, that,
he remembers it.
well, that's what fully pulls him into this,
Yeah.
and that was Dina's intention from the get-go, is that their stories converge at that point, because this whole thing is about not just revenge for her,
But for him.
which is why having him doing it at his house,
Yeah.
and having him return to ultimately have the kill shot, I think
Yeah.
was her gift to him.
Yeah. Yeah, and well, I mean, yeah, there's the whole secret component, which is funny too, because like Rod has this monologue at the end of the film where he's talking about what they're doing and why they're lying, and like that this fake narrative they're going to set up. And I'm glad we did,
Yeah.
because it opens up more story there. But
Yeah.
it's just like, they would, if they told, like, it's complicated. If you went to the cops, your people, and you just go, I killed this woman, Dina just blew up some dude's head. Like, it's going to open up a can of worms that they're not ready to answer yet. And it's just
Right.
going to create more issues. And all of a sudden, you're going to look at Connor Davis. You're going to look at all these people, and it's going to become this, like, open opening up all these cases and trying to put a face to names, and it's so complicated that I think that this is just a personal revenge story for
that's
them.
what it is, 100%.
So the more that they bring into it, I think the more that it complicates their story, and they don't get the victory anymore because they're bringing in other people into that victory. So I think this is the only way it works, is if they hide it and they just hold on to this secret forever.
Yeah.
Hopefully no one catches it, figures it out later. But I don't know. That was kind of the intention there, and I never questioned it. And now I'm glad that that's what it is.
Me too. Yeah. No, the lie is very important.
Yeah.
For other reasons, but.
So this is Willis, going on the timeline. Willis is, these timelines are not different. Like, it's not like a Saw 2 thing where there's two different seemingly parallel timelines. These are happening at the same time. So
Max isn't even in the home anymore.
Max is gone.
He's been replaced by the mannequin that gave Dina a little scare and the idea at that time to be like, oh,
I can use this.
Perfect. I don't have to use pillows.
Right. And so, again, Keegan's probably in the basement. She's opening that up. I don't know how she must go downstairs very quietly or something.
Yeah, you could do a sequel to this where it's from her perspective. She's just like,
I know,
jogging down the stairs.
It's like that,
just breathing in the dark.
It's like the scene in Scary Movie when she's sitting in class and looks out and sees,
and he runs off.
And
to
runs
the side.
off
Yeah,
and
that's
hides.
great.
And she looks back. She's like, so good.
Yeah, from the killer's perspective, it's probably never as much fun because. Yeah, unless Liz is really adamant about her cardio, like there's probably some heavy breathing going on in a corner somewhere, just like
just hiding under a bed, just hoping to God Dina doesn't look. Yeah, and this music thing, this was something that I was just like, there's the scene in The Game with Michael Douglas when he goes home and his whole house has been spray painted and the music is just blaring.
The black light on.
Yeah, and that was what inspired this scene. Was like, let's have music kind of instead of score doing this.
Yeah.
And why? I don't know. Just because it's cool.
Oh, it's cool.
Yeah.
Then this is probably the one where everyone's like, why are you going to go downstairs? Like, it's dark. Why are you doing this? Like, why? Like, there's a phone right behind you.
But I will say we did establish that the lights are on only at the bottom. So when she goes down with Max earlier, she flicks it on there. So.
Yeah, and I think it's more about just why are you going down in the first place?
Right.
But again, Dina's putting a lot of. I wish I kind of established earlier. Maybe she's got a holster. Maybe this is an open carry state. She's protected in some way, but or maybe she spent the last year doing jiu-jitsu or something. Like she may be quite proficient at hand-to-hand combat, and she's studied her adversary for a year, so she's, she'll find a trigger or pressure point and put her into convulsions or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
The wedding dress was always, there was more to the wedding dress in the original scripts. Like there was going to be blood all over it, and it'll end up on the kitchen table at some point. It
was like laid out for Liz.
Yeah, it was too much. Yeah. There was too much happening, and God, I can't even imagine the cleanup Rod had to do after all of this, especially from the first draft.
Right. I remember when I was editing that scene with the fight, I was just like, why did I do this? Because scripted, he feels him, he turns as it is, and he's like, get on the ground, and it's slow, and it builds up tension with yelling and kind of confusion and stuff like that, and the hit wasn't even in it.
Yeah.
But I was like, it would be
works,
cool.
Though. I liked it.
Yeah, it's nice. It's cool to kind of one hurt him and two to have blood on his face for later, and just to show that he's obsessed. But he just kind of like punches him, and it's so fast, and I don't know, it never really totally worked for me. I regret not doing both.
I think it viscerally works just because Rod is. He's at his wit's end. Yeah, he's unhinged. He's off the reservation now, and I think he's not acting under police conduct anymore. He's acting as himself.
Yeah, and
he's not mentally well right now. He's chasing. He feels like he's chasing a ghost. I think the assumption, like the first draft, they thought it was a drifter, someone who came in and killed this poor girl and left, and they, I think Butch settled on that conclusion because it was easy. If the bad guy's gone, then normalcy returns.
Right.
But Rod never believed that.
Yeah, so Keegan is hiding under the bed. Elizabeth. just hiding somewhere, just
Yeah.
hoping, just like praying, just closing her eyes, like, please don't come around here.
Yeah.
For the love of God, just the lights don't work. Just leave. I'm just trying to scare you because it's
Yeah.
better for later. But
And she's also a very proficient electrician because
yeah,
she can somehow figure out how to trip a breaker in one room and not
Well,
another, which is great. Maybe
yeah,
there's arc faults in these old properties. Who knows? I don't know.
I like to think it's more like maybe the bulbs, or
Yeah,
Rod doesn't
of
like
course,
to turn
yeah.
on the light
Yeah,
in his own
maybe.
bedroom because
Yeah.
you don't really see it, but the bed is made like
Yeah.
on one side, and
Or she strategically removed the
where
bulbs.
she did that. Yeah,
Maybe she's just lying under bed with all these light bulbs
Mm-hmm.
around her.
it's possible.
We should have had one just roll out.
I guess, so this would be impossible. But this is also something interesting, too, is like a lot of what happens here got changed when we got this house.
Yeah.
Like, because the geography was different. So,
Yeah, I remember we did a last minute sort of guerrilla take on the
Right.
script where we had to rewrite these sections to
because how did she
accommodate the
get
new
out with the
location.
light bulbs and do that?
Yeah.
That's definitely the one that, that you have. It's like, what? But, yeah, again, like, in the original script, she was doing all these things, but they were out of order because of what the house layout was. But when
right.
we had to match it to what we actually had, even though there's some cheating, like that
Yeah.
room isn't that room and the
Yeah.
den isn't that den, it just changes the logical flow of certain things. And so we had to like rewrite the house tour and this sequence to make
Yeah.
it work, because where these rooms aren't where they were scripted.
Yeah.
And so that's one of those things where it's like, oh, the house, because we're not building it, the house is never going to be perfect for
Yeah.
the script.
Yeah.
So you just have to, it has to be open enough to change it. And that's one where it's just like, oh, okay. Yeah, in theory, that doesn't really make any sense, but whatever, just go with it.
Yeah.
There has to be some level of that. Like, how did the window just break?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So she must have gotten out of that room.
From the outside too, because the glass is on the inside. So
Right.
the assumption is
She's
maybe
all
she just I don't know. It's just all thematic, but maybe she just said maybe she's prepped in advance too. If this is in her
Yeah.
journal, she set up little charges, or she's got a booby trap so that newspaper clipping was on the ceiling and she somehow just timed it and a little fishing wire brought it
Yeah.
down.
We're frauds.
Yeah,
It's all bullshit.
no, I mean it's fun.
Yeah.
It's all fun.
Yeah, this was something out of Seeger's note too. I think we had them seeing each other in an earlier
Yeah.
draft.
Like we had, I think Rod's intention was to play one rat off the other. Like it
Yeah.
was sort of like the mob mentality. You see someone else and you're gonna
Right.
try to be the snitch to get a deal, sort of thing. And that's what his intention was. But the goal there was just to have Chad still play innocent and try to put the blame on Willis, which makes sense.
Yeah, so we definitely needed that moment too,
Yeah.
just to see Chad leave and stuff. I do remember. I mean, we did struggle a lot with the parallel timelines because
Yeah.
Rod initially was at the house when Dina got there
Yeah.
originally, I think, and they had that moment. But it was like,
Yeah,
we
did.
can't get him there
Yeah.
when he's doing the stuff with the case,
Right.
and so.
Yeah.
They didn't have any interaction in the script until pretty late when we added the phone call when she's doing the walkie-talkie hide and seek
Yeah.
game,
Yeah.
because we needed to cross
Yeah.
paths at some
Yeah,
point.
we did. It was important. They had no interaction until the end, I guess. So yeah, we needed to have something there, just so he doesn't get there and he's like, "Where the hell's Hattie?"
That's my hand. I'm doing the killing here.
Yeah. So this is Rod's catalyst here.
Yeah.
He's like, "Well, oh my God, this is whoever's sending me these things is showing me this for a reason."
And I kind of got Midnight Mass, going back to that at the beginning of it.
With
There's
the
like the
lights,
car accident. Yeah, I
and
kind
then
of
that
used
body
that as,
and the body and the flashing lights.
Right.
Yeah, it's great.
I definitely stole
great
that
cue.
a little bit for this.
No,
very fast.
Flanagan's got some great cues for sure. That funny quoting Flanagan or referencing Flanagan, our opening cold open. I mean, our intention was to do a sort of Scream call out, I guess, with Drew Barrymore, and our star in that is now in a
Flanagan show.
major show, Carrie, which is crazy.
Yeah, that was wild to watch happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm curious what they're going to do with that because she's so pretty and Carrie's not. Like, it's just going to be a different take. But I've heard, I think they've edited it. It's not coming out till I think later this year. But
Oh, okay.
people have said it's really good. that have heard.
I don't know. I mean, you can makeup or lack of, I should say, just to wash you out can do interesting things to the face on film.
Yeah, so this was something I remember when we were writing too, just like sort of how we intercut between, like, I always pictured Silence of the Lambs with the FBI raiding the house, and you think they're going to Buffalo Bill's house, and then Clarice is going somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of lost in translation in the chaotic edit, but then, you know, he opens the door and it's Clarice at their door and they're at the wrong house.
Right.
That's kind of the inspiration between this moment coming up next. And it was really hard to write because I was like, this is going to be an editorial thing where they're kind of jumping back and forth.
Yeah.
And it works. I think it works really well. I shot just enough shots to make it work. Because you kind of have to cut back and forth, and we don't have money. Like the shots of the cop cars is me, Clayton, Ron, the stunt guy, Larry, the production superhero, and I think Seeger as well, just ripping down these streets after we'd already done like 12 hours, so just the four of us are in overtime with these two cars, just ripping around in this little community, and stealing shots at like 4 a.m.
That's funny.
And it's just like, you're trying to create this action moment with no money, and that's, we only have two cars, only one of them really works, and so it was just kind of funny trying to, you're just trying to shoot up or do something above your budget.
Yeah, and then this is the fun sort of, like, This
has changed too.
This was going to go further where, the knife actually comes down, we reveal the mannequin.
Yeah.
So the revelation comes later with the cops going to the wrong spot.
Yeah, you can see the edit happen too. It's like she pulls out the knife here, and then, we have this stuff as it was.
Yeah.
And then, she was going to stab the mannequin here, and then we have the footage. It looks good, but it plays its hand too fast.
Yeah.
So there's a hidden cut in that whip pan over to the door, and it's just like, okay, well, Dina's gonna stop him, save Max, and the Reaper's gonna go for Dina now, and the cops are gonna make it. It's like, oh, it's gonna be a close call, but they're gonna get there just in the nick of time, and oh my God, it's desperate, and they're coming, and they're driving, and there's 3 cars, but there's really 2. It's just like finding where these moments happen. But that was all the footage we had of those cars, so it's like, thank God we didn't need one more cut. And then it's like, wait, what? And, I think an audience paying attention would be like super confused here.
Yeah.
In a good way, because it's super out of left field, but it's not. It just feels like it. But there's the radio box. There's a little shout out for later. It's the same radio she's going to use to blow up. And they're talking about a bomb, and the bomb threat was, it's all done. I do remember talking about that for a long time too, like what's in the backpack.
Yeah.
It was books and like the radio box, but I was like, we need some sort of setup for a bomb, and so I was like, maybe there's wires and stuff like that.
Yeah, my biggest concern though with that was just Dina's on surveillance, and she's showing, like, so she would be implicated in a sense if that were true, if there was a bomb scare called. So it's just supposed to play as a mistake in the end. So having nothing really incriminating in there works better, just so, because by the end of the movie, Dina gets stabbed rather viciously in both quads. So if she's not I'm assuming she's going to be crippled in some sense by that act. So how do you explain that off in the future, other than just the Reaper was here again and Rod scared her off or something, like, if so.
Yeah, they need some lie there.
Yeah.
This was the biggest change from the script to the edit, because we do the first cut of the film and it's basically a 1-to-1 with the script. And I couldn't shake the feeling that because we're doing such a big change over here to Liz's point of view, it needed something like in Gone Girl, where you kind of reset the stakes and everything, and just get everybody on the same page. And it's coming after like her tasing her, where the audience is already going to be kind of confused. So I was just like, we need to show from Dina's perspective everything that we need to know for the next part. Because I think scripted, it was kind of sprinkled throughout, and we learned.
Yeah,
things
it
as
was
we
mostly
go.
right at the finale as all of
Yeah.
this stuff was more discussed with Rod
Right.
and how she concocted this plan and brought
Right.
him into it, sort of thing. But
But it felt too late. It
Yeah.
was like, okay, well, we already know the twist,
Yeah.
so when we show it, it's almost like, oh, okay, cool. Like, it was
Yeah.
kind of cool, but it didn't inform as much. So
Yeah.
this being all at once and just showing everything, the only thing we kind of held back is the sister relationship,
Yeah.
which is something I was considering doing. Like at the very end, having Dina right there go, and why am I doing this? Because you killed my sister,
Yeah.
and then the tape ending. But it just created so many issues.
yeah, I mean, I think it's better a revelation when she's got the gun to
Yeah.
Liz's head.
It allows for more like
Yeah.
story movement too,
Mhm.
which is always a good thing. But yeah, that shot of her on the phone there, I kind of regret. It's cute, and I love how she touches the phone and is smiling after. But I wish at the beginning of it she was acting more panicked, like she
Yeah.
was when we heard 911. This what's your emergency earlier.
It's probably all. It may not even be seeing it as it was actually
Yeah.
done, but more of a confidence from her perspective.
Sure, you can lie about
Yeah.
it, but it
I
it would
get it,
help
yeah.
tie the scene to the viewer
Yeah.
better. Yeah, and then this was this was always kind of the thing. We had the
Yeah.
big point of view thing. That was always something I wanted to explore and
Yeah,
work on, and just have this changeover for the last act where it feels like a totally different movie.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, like I wanted it to be a theater
Yeah.
of her past victims getting to watch the tables turn on her, and Dina's spent time. Again, she's done the whole thing that Liz had probably previously done, and gone through the house, removed all blunt objects, weapons, anything
Yeah.
that could be used, outside, I guess, a shard of glass. But
yeah.
yeah, she just wanted to leave all of these cues.
Yeah, and it was tough. We shot just like there was so much more too.
Yeah.
Like she went into the basement and there was a record. You could hear Dina's voice, and she's like, "I can hear you."
Yeah.
And she follows the voice down to the basement where there was the mannequin set up with a tape recorder on its chest, and it's kind of talking about other kills that she had done.
Yeah.
And it just made it go on too long.
Mhm.
Like we just needed to we get it. She's alone in the house, all that stuff. We need to keep moving, and so that didn't make it. It's in the deleted scenes though. You can kind of
Yeah.
see what it was gonna be.
The mannequin made a comeback in the
Yeah.
basement.
It was cool. It was a
Yeah.
cool little moment, but just in a vacuum, it worked better than
Yeah.
in the actual narrative.
Right.
So getting her outside was more important. But it's when she goes downstairs shortly after, it's like two scenes cut together to make it feel like it's just the one,
Yeah.
but it's not. It's just everything's kind of
Mm-hmm.
cheated. But I liked the death thing. That always got a laugh in the theaters too, because we keep seeing the tape
Yeah.
change.
Yeah. Well, that's all scripted. I think that was all scripted from the get-go.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the scene where you can see the flask, and it's on the desk. And I mean, in this scene, he didn't take a drink, but in the scene when Butch went to the radio thing, he was drinking. So you can see the flask there, but it just never felt right. But now I wish I kind of had him, finish this scene with a drink or something like that, or not this scene,
Mm-hmm.
because he's like on a mission here.
Yeah.
Who was it?
Yeah, so if I had revealed the sister thing, all this dialogue wouldn't have been able to work.
Yeah.
So it would
No,
have
I
just been
think
like
I think it works better the way it is for
just
sure.
teasing it out as long as possible.
Yeah, I think Dina wanted that name to come out of her mouth before she put a hole in her head.
Yeah. And this shot from the front is the Z call out from the scene when she feels eyes in the closet. It's like the train. It's like a other than her looking much crazier, it's a duplicate of that, which is fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, I didn't execute this one as well as I wish I did too. The music does a lot of the heavy lifting, but the direction didn't. It's fine.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look like it's a very flat shot of the camera there and whatever. But yeah, this was all ADR that we did. Like I kept having Jess record lines to change how this felt because it didn't quite land right.
Mm-hmm.
And the roadkill line there to make her feel, it's just kind of like digging in and making her feel stupider and stupider.
Yeah.
And then this was, and this is funny too. It's like this wasn't scripted, the hot and cold game.
Right.
But I was like, it's a fun little throwback.
Yeah.
But some people have been like, how the hell is she able to tell where she is? And it's like she's a field away watching from outside. Yeah, like that's 2 scenes cut together. More Reapers. Yeah. How did that get put up in that time when she was upstairs? I don't know. It's magic.
Again, it was taped to the ceiling, and
just
it was
dropped.
timed perfectly.
They both are very good.
Yeah, she went to the hardware store. I need tape that'll hold for this amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't exist. Make it exist.
Yeah, so now we're getting to this big, what feels like it could be the climax of the movie, but it's not because of the twist again, where we have a second killer. But yeah, I just remember shooting this, and it was so cold. It was like 5 a.m., and when we got to the end of the scene where Chad knocks her out, it was morning and like full daylight, and it was like a Friday, and we were just like, it was very late overtime, and it just sucked. But at least this looks great, all these Reaper things. I have 4 of them.
Yeah, I just imagine this forest full of Reapers. Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, and when they did it, they had like 6 initially, and I was like, no, guys, we need so many more. But they had to make them all, so it's like, they were already way overworked. But, yeah, this stuff's all cool. Yeah, but if you look, she's shooting with her left hand because I flipped the shot. Left hand, and now it's flipped. Yeah, and she shot her with bird shot. That doesn't, she would have been blown off her leg.
Exactly, I know.
12 gauge.
Yeah.
But she didn't want to kill her here.
No.
If she shot her leg off, it would have bled out and died. And it wouldn't have given us this reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one where it's like you can tinker with this shit forever, but you've got a deadline you have to hit, and it's just a matter of getting it done. And so, I think scripted this worked better than it does here, but the laugh and all that stuff plays really well.
Yeah.
It's about time.
And then just appear out of nowhere and crunch.
This is one of my favorite shots here.
The sideways one.
Yeah,
it's
and it
pretty
comes, and then my
Punches
other
her.
favorite shot is when she's being dragged and sees the dog,
Oh,
and it's just, she just feels like meat to these people.
And I just remember in the script, it was like one of those scenes. It probably doesn't need to be in the movie of her being dragged. Like it could have just cut to her waking up in the kitchen.
Yeah,
But
I think
it's
it's
a
a
nice-
powerful visual.
Yeah, and in the script it said like, there's a connection as she passes the dog, and it's like Dina and the dog.
Yeah.
And that was kind of how the scene ended. And I was just, having this face to face with a dead dog is so nice.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite shots.
But just in like in this grand scheme of things, so I think you might be ringing. No? What the heck? Okay, doesn't matter. Sorry. So anyways, it's not you, it's me.
Oh.
My bad.
What's wrong?
But I do. We did have another scene there where he like got into his car and ripped out of there, and we filmed it, but it wasn't very good.
Yeah, it probably wasn't required.
You just need to show him leaving.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a big one. This is a very complicated. This and the next one is like 12 to 15 pages of the script, and it's such a huge chunk.
Yeah.
That, but it works. It's cool.
It
And there was
went-
more here. Like
Yeah.
I cut it down to get some of the fat out. Like he's talking to her. It just needed to maintain the air of frustration and not as fun because she's hurt.
Yeah.
She needs to be taken care of. But yeah, here's where there was a flashback.
Yeah.
And I still regret pulling it. It was a very last second thing. You watch to say goodbye. It shows the funeral really quickly,
Yeah.
and she's recording them.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Yeah, you
it
can
says
fill in the
what it
blanks
is,
yourself,
yeah.
but the movie could have also done it. Like, it was scripted to tell us why.
Yeah. Yeah, there was this scene went through a ton of iterations, just even getting down to Liz's motive.
Right.
She was going to explain everything, and I did a few, just wanting to, just enjoying watching people die. I think she talked about the boy in the putty cave at one point,
Yeah, really.
who just slowly died and
Right.
became this town sensation, and she wanted to provide that same sort of entertainment for people because
Right.
people are genuinely morbid. When bad shit happens, they're drawn to it. Like,
When it happens to not
to,
them.
yeah, when it happens to somebody else,
Yeah.
they're drawn to it like moths to a flame, and she wanted to capture that. You know,
Yeah.
she's like a proto influencer in that sense, where her content is very macabre.
Yeah, and you're trying to balance that
Yeah,
with what's like
it was just too
narratively
much,
fun.
yeah.
Like if it's a book,
Yeah,
you
in
know,
a book it makes sense.
Yeah,
but
you can get
in
that
it was
thought.
it was just a big soliloquy about how perverted and pervasive man
Yeah.
can be, and it worked on paper.
Yeah, and when it's just like one of those things when it turns into like the architect scene from
Yeah.
the Matrix
Yeah.
Revolutions or Reloaded, and it
Yeah.
just becomes like you're like, I get it.
Yeah.
I just move on. I want to see the next fun thing.
Right, which is funny. I think I must be one of the only people in existence who just loves everything about Matrix
Right.
Reloaded, just
I
what
think
they
so.
did. Yeah, I guess that says something about me, but
It's just too smart for me.
yeah, I think that was, yeah. Well, we're getting off topic, I guess, but I think they were chasing that high from the first movie and being. Uh,
Well, yeah, you want to expand your story, and
Yeah.
they did.
Yeah.
And it just gets too expanded,
Mhm.
where you lose that kind of like the personal story of Neo. I don't know why we're
Anyway.
we'll record another Matrix Reloaded podcast later.
I'd like to.
Yeah, so this was something that I was just like adamant on having. I was like, we need the head to explode.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so good, and yeah, it works great. But
Yeah.
it was like one of those things that was like, I even have in our notes because we work on Google Docs, and it's like, we have all of our ideas and we just put everything down so
Yeah.
it's there. And if we move it to the bottom when we don't use it, but it's nice to have. And there's like a note from me, and it's like, we need to have his head explode. We can go back and find places that we can set it up, but it's gonna be a big thing to add. And
I was gonna say, was that a tooth by her hand?
yeah, I just noticed that too. It's just,
That's
we had like a
hilarious.
bunch of brain matter. Like
Yeah.
it must have been just a piece of that.
Yeah, it would have been funny if Dina ends up dying of some like sepsis or something because a
Right.
few of his teeth get embedded into her that she doesn't know, and just internal bleeding, and ugh. Anyway, she goes into
Yeah.
septic shock.
Yeah, and this was always kind of how it was always Emily on the TV
Yeah.
and her copying her death for her and recording it all, and it mostly works here. I think the only issue is on Emily's performance. I don't have her like, you don't see any of the violence. You just
Yeah,
see
I know
her
on the script.
face.
I know on the script she was more of a pincushion
Yeah.
with knives sticking out. It was just
Yeah.
a nasty sort of
Right.
endeavor, but
And it's just one of the, like, we shot that at the end of her thing, and like you're facing overtime, and you're
Yeah.
like, I just got to get
yeah,
what is needed for the story. The textural elements I'll regret not getting, but you just only have so much time when you're filming.
yeah.
But it works. I mean, story wise, it doesn't change
No.
anything. It
And
just
the-
would have been more effective.
The makeup, like, is so iconic on
Yeah.
Jessica, on Dina there. It's great.
Yeah. And it was funny because when the first time we did it was when she says TikTok and puts the cloak up.
Yeah.
And like we were shooting stuff outside with Keegan while she was getting her makeup done, and they were sending me makeup pictures from the trailer, and it took so long to get her figured this out because we'd never done it before, and she kind of looked like the little boy that goes like, I like turtles. That news.
And you didn't go with that? That would have
No.
been amazing.
Should have. It's a missed opportunity.
I think so.
But yeah, all this stuff's cool. It's just, you know, it's very final bossy.
Yeah.
And Keegan's great. She's a very good psychopath.
Just like the little sister she buried.
And we didn't even have her act. It
No,
was just,
she didn't know the cameras were rolling.
About Emily.
But yeah, this was just like a full day being in that thing. The only nice thing is that it was daytime. Like, we blacked out the windows.
Oh, yeah.
So we did day for night, which working overnights is the worst. But yeah, there's like, had we seen right here her like stabbing,
Yeah.
it would have been really gross.
Yeah.
And everything. We don't. I shot some inserts with Seeger's girlfriend Diane, and I should like stabbing her legs, and you can see it in the background when she's stabbing her legs, but
Yeah.
it's not as good as if we were able to show it on Summer. But it's fine. You know, she's already bloody, so it's like, how did that happen? There's a sound of a stab that you can hear off screen, but it is what it is. We get it.
Yeah.
She's killing her.
And this little poem or whatever
Yeah.
she's reciting is right from the first draft.
Yeah, and it's funny because you don't even really hear the final thing, but you have the cadence of the rhyme,
Yeah.
so that you kind of fill it in yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing was I filmed this, like, that was me killing Emily, and so I'm filming and I'm doing the knife and I'm doing all this stuff, and I only had one take of it because we were so late. But yeah, you can see in the background there,
Yeah.
there's knife stuff. But half of the performance is like got glitched out or something on the old mini DV camera, the tape. It got like corrupted, and so I couldn't use a lot of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, this was pre-digital, so I can't have all this digital distortion in a thing. Anyways, Rod got there.
Rod got there. It all ended perfectly, like it was timed to happen that way.
Yeah.
She should have said, "You could have gotten here before my legs were crippled."
Right. No, do you remember you wrote me, like, we had filmed, and you were watching dailies and stuff when we
Yeah.
were shooting, but you were like, did you not shoot the final line there when she goes like,
Oh yeah,
you forgot one
you,
thing?
You didn't just kill Emily.
Yeah. And so I had to get
Yeah,
Jess
that's right.
back, get Sharon, the makeup artist, to come out and redo her makeup. And then we just shot that in my basement, just the
Yeah.
close-up of her face. And you can't tell,
No.
you know, once it's graded and everything. But it was such an important part that the ending
Yeah.
didn't work at all without it.
Yeah, it was that's an important line, just because Abby and Emily, this is revenge for both of them.
Yeah. And so, you know, that was just me screwing up. I mean, I take 98% of the blame because we didn't have a script supervisor. So,
Yeah.
you know, you would have that person to call that out. And I think, you know, Puppet Man, I didn't have one. Body Cam, I didn't have one. Superhost, I didn't have one. And it's usually fine. But that was a case where it would have been nice to have it.
Yeah. Oh well, it was discovered
Yeah. It was
early
solved.
enough that it. Yeah.
But, yeah, that was, it's a good headshot.
Yeah. Then it gets into the little, well, more or less an epilogue in a sense, where we flash forward a bit, and
Right.
I always love this.
And this is where all of the flashbacks were, like,
Yeah.
you know, they were,
Yeah, this
and there
was
was right up until the end, there was a shot of her building the bomb in the dorm.
Yeah.
But when I was doing the sound mix, one of the guys there was like, "This shot kind of feels like a made-for-TV thing," and I was
okay.
just like, "Oh my god, I need to pull it." So I
okay.
pulled it just because of that and reworked it just a little bit so that,
Uh.
you know, it's like, you deserve to be here. When it was like when I saw your wife was also killed, whatever.
Yeah.
And she kind of went off on a little tangent and showed her working in her dorm.
Mm.
Yeah, it wasn't the best execution of that idea, so I had to pull it. It's like, I'd rather not have it and miss it than have it there and it be not good.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, this was all like 15 minutes of these two. And it's funny because, like, she just got stabbed in the leg, and the first thing Rod does is untie her and have her stand up and move to another chair.
Oh, he's drunk. So-
Right. That's subtext.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's not very nice. Could have just left her where she was.
I guess. He doesn't care much for his furniture. He wants her to ruin his other
Yeah.
couch now.
Yeah, you never liked that couch.
Like, this poor guy he hasn't seen the kitchen yet.
I know, it's almost like Buzz at the end of Home Alone. He's like, "Kevin, what did you do to my room?" or whatever.
Yeah, that would have been a good last line. Dino, what did you do to my kitchen?
Right.
This is some of my favorite stuff. This stuff here.
Yeah.
Just the music, everything was perfect. Because the very final scene I wrote, it was in my head exactly, is Dina looking at the camera and just being like, shit's gonna get real.
Yeah, and
like,
I did that same ending in
Yeah.
Puppet Man with her looking at the camera, which wasn't scripted, and it was
Yeah.
it's a better ending for it, but
Yeah.
I was just like, oh man, I'm doing the same ending again.
Eh. This one has the
Yes.
musical cue
Yeah, I
that
know.
is just like
And people actually
so
watched this one.
badass. Yeah.
But they will never.
Yeah, this was fun to shoot. It's just like
She'll be their boogeyman.
very dark and spooky.
She always
Yeah.
was.
But yeah, this lie is setting up something for later maybe, and it's just cool to,
Yeah.
you know, maybe they could have explored why they had to lie a bit more, but I do just think it opens up so many questions.
It does. Yeah.
So yeah, but it is kind of interesting, like what did they do with Chad's body, and they had to clean out the kitchen before they called the cops, like
Yeah.
how,
And our burden alone.
yeah.
And everything.
Yeah. That's a. I always, when I'm writing, I always say that's a problem for my future self.
Yeah. It's a very Vince Gilligan way to work too.
Yeah.
It's just like he'll write himself into a corner.
Sometimes those are where the best ideas come from.
Yeah.
You know,
And for Emily.
that look there, that was exactly what I saw.
But this song was something that was never expected to happen.
So happy it did. It just makes it.
Yeah, it was. I put it in and after the assembly edit, and I was just like, oh my god,
Yeah.
this is so good.
Yeah, I remember I showed my wife the assembly edit, which is very early cut, and she was just like, I don't want to watch it. And she was so engrossed by it, and right after the end scene, she burst into tears.
That's funny.
She was just so flabbergasted. Like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
a very unassuming film.
Right, and it's also interesting because it's kind of a positive, like a happy ending.
Yeah,
It's not like there's so much death and destruction
Yeah.
and all this stuff, and
the
you're
right
going-
people died.
Yeah, sort of. Abby and some of the other people.
Well,
But,
yeah, but that was sort of done previously.
Mhm.
Like in the final act, the right people died.
Yeah. No, it was
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I don't know. This was fun. It was just fun because this was like the first script we wrote,
Yeah.
and it's the most recent one that we've shot.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
I can even just see in like the stuff we've been writing now that it's we've just changed the way we do things and how it works, and I think it's
Well, I mean, we just the way we actually write or break a story is to meet and just beat it, like just
yeah, talk through everything.
talk through the entire structure. We have a few scripts where we broke it in one sitting and then just started writing, and it went from there. But
Yeah.
there's a lot sitting in our hard drive right now that hopefully it'll all get made.
Right.
There's a lot of cool stuff that we want to see on celluloid
Or digital
or digital.
imageries.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's tough out there.
Yep.
But I did like doing the 80s. The 80s are fun.
Yeah.
It's hard as shit, but it's fun.
I think this movie was quite successful. I don't know, everything about it. I loved it.
Yeah.
Loved how it turned out. Just fun.
All right, we gotta say our exits. We've got about 30 seconds. So yeah, this was your first commentary. Worked well.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it's just talking,
Yeah.
and hopefully we'll do another one. We got body cam coming up, so
Oh yeah.
we'll have to do one for that too. Not much
Body
shorter.
cam was a tough. I keep forgetting about that one. It was done so long ago, but written so long ago, I should say.
Right.
But that was a tough one. This was
Yeah.
an easier script to write than that one for sure.
Yeah. We will be back with
Yeah.
body cam very soon, but I'm going to say
yeah.
goodbye. Goodbye. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Yeah, nice to meet you all.
Yeah. And good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Bye.